Hello dance fam, welcome to today's class, sending you all the good energy. I'm enjoying some golden light in my bedroom today, but today's class is all about really opening up our hamstrings, bringing some mobility and flexibility to our inner thighs and to our hips, just awakening the whole lower body so that you can access more flexibility. You know, this is something that a lot of dancers struggle with, just feeling like, just like super stubborn muscles that no matter how much you stretch, they don't want to budge. And before we get into this video, I really giving you the serious face here. I need you to go watch this video right here. It's a 10-minute breakdown. I'm gonna give you all of the anatomy and alignment key factors that you are gonna wanna understand as to what has been keeping your hamstrings locked up, stubborn, kind of inflexible, and what key alignment shifts you need to make happen, what key understandings about the science of flexibility and how flexibility really works, and how basically all the things that we're going to be incorporating into today's class. So today's class is not going to be as potent if you don't have this information. An educated dancer is a healthy and thriving dancer. So please just take 10 minutes if this is your first time to class. Watch this video. I'm going to break down the why, what, and how of what has been keeping you locked up and what to do to fix it. Because there could be a lot of different things that could kind of be going wrong that would make your hamstrings lock up. So we want to get to the bottom of what's going on, so we're not just going into this blind, right? No more just random stretching, hoping that it'll start to make a difference, okay? So please watch that, and then when you are ready, return back to this video, grab a foam roller, grab some water, and let's get into some beautiful, juicy, active stretching. We're gonna get a little sweaty, and then do a nice stretchy cool down. So let's get into it. All right, my friends, let's start down on the mat. We're actually going to start with just rolling out the hamstrings, just giving them a little bit of a massage. So let's start on our left side. And you might be surprised how effective this really can be. I like to weave in myofascial release into a lot of my stretching sessions because it helps the fascia and helps the muscles just kind of release any stress that they might be holding on to, just helps them start off in a place of being less clenched if they're feeling really tense. So just take a moment here to find what feels good, tap into some deep breaths. Just setting an intention that we're going to listen to our bodies today, we're going to honor them. We are going to challenge ourselves and really put our mind into the muscles, but we are going to also listen to our body. We want to make sure with stretching, it's really not that effective to be in pain. I want you to let go of that no pain, no gain mentality here. Working with our body and creating an environment of safety and trust with our physical being is what's going to help you reach your goals. So let's switch sides. Right hamstring now. I'm crossing my other leg over on top to give it a little bit more pressure, but feel free to keep it on the floor. Deep breaths, just saying hello to each hamstring, noticing if one feels different than the other. That feels good here. If you are hypermobile, this is a really great way to release some hamstring tension without overstretching into your knee joint. Beautiful. Okay, let's put that foam roller to the side and go ahead and stand up, get the blood flowing. Hands are already feeling good. Let's just start with some jumping jacks, guys. We're just gonna get a little bit warm here. Deep breaths. Breathing to awaken, breathing to energize. Beautiful, we're gonna do 10 squats here. And I want you to really focus on getting your booty and the back of your legs involved here. So really sinking your weight back into your heels, pressing those knees out. Nice strong core. And put the mind in the muscle. Feel the booty, feel the hamstrings waking up. Beautiful. Spread those toes, turn out. We're gonna drop down into our goddess squat here. Exhale. Energy shooting down from the glutes, from the hamstrings, into the feet to press you up. Beautiful, hands down. Bend the knees, we're just gonna let the hips swing kind of back and forth here. Loosening them up. And we're gonna rotate, dropping that right knee in, twisting open to the left. Exhale, center, right back to where you came. Reverse, other side. Exhale, working some hip mobility. Right knee drops, right knee turns out. Left knee drops, open across the heart, and turn out. And I'm coming over here to the right side. Just take a moment to stretch and breathe here in our lunge. And then we're gonna come up onto our toes off of our knees, take a twist, high lunge. Exhale, elbow to the right. Inhale, unravel. Exhale, drop. Last time this side. Exhale. Beautiful, walking around to the other side. Take a moment here to just enjoy the twist, breathe, get into the body. Beautiful, tuck the toes, lift that knee off, twist. Exhale, contract, right elbow over to the left side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. Last time, inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. And from here, we're just gonna step back into our downward facing dog. So, checking in with our alignment here, we want to make sure that we have a nice flat back. So, start with bending your knees actually and really getting a nice flat back. Finding a little arch through the pelvis, but not letting the ribs flare out. Draw the ribs in, activate the core. Plug all 10 fingertips into the floor to really stabilize the arms and the wrist. And then you can work towards straightening the legs. I'm kind of walking out a little bit here. Without locking into your knees though, okay? So we want to keep the stretch in the hamstrings and out of the knee joints. Beautiful, looking up to your hands. We're gonna bend the knees and hop up to a forward fold. Inhale, come on up, standing tall. Exhale, hands to heart rate. Check in by spreading our toes on the floor, finding our nice tall balance here. We're gonna start by just taking a forward fold and feeling into our alignment here. So what I don't want you to do is feel like your weight is all back in your heels and you're locking into your knees. Shift your weight forward into your toes. You could almost lift your heels off. Slightly bend the knees as much as you need to and actually lift through the front of the chest. So we're not rounding through the spine, especially be aware of the low back. Creating a little bit more flatness here, almost trying to get the belly onto the legs rather than curling up. So, weight is forward. And just noticing how that changes the stretch when we're a little bit more aware of the alignment. Don't lock into your knees. You should feel that there's stretches mainly in the hamstrings, whereas when we're just kind of locking and sinking back and rounding through the back, it's more in the back and more in the knees. And when we shift forward, lengthen through the spine. So let's breathe here for a moment. And then I want you to squeeze your glutes here 3 times. So we're gonna squeeze and release. So I want you to squeeze your glutes, squeeze your hamstrings, activate the muscle, and relax. Squeeze, and relax. Squeeze, and relax. We're just showing the brain, hey, we can activate our muscles here, we're strong here. Now we're gonna find a little bit of movement. So I want you to rock up onto your toes and really, now you can round through the spine, round through the pelvis, curl up into a little ball. And then you're gonna rock back, wait until the heels, lift the toes off, lift the spine here. Okay, rocking forward, round, heels, arch. Up on the toes, round, heels, arch, toes, placing the toes down. I'm gonna place that right hand into the center, right below the face. Go ahead, bend that right knee, straighten the left, and again, shift your weight as much as you can into the ball of that left foot. Now we're gonna twist here. So again, I'm keeping all those same principles. I'm not back here hanging out, locking into my knee. I'm really forward, and I'm really thinking about arching, think booty hole to the sky. And then bending that knee, and also not rolling in on my arches. So I'm really almost having a little bit of external rotation through that left leg here. We're gonna breathe here for a moment, breathing into the outside of this leg here. Lengthening through the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Breathing into the belly. Now we're gonna see if we can lift up using the core and using our booty strength to lift us up onto our fingertips. So we're barely putting weight on that hand. And feel your hamstrings activate, and also see if you can stay shifted forward. If you feel like you're going back, just notice that. And then we're actually gonna bring the hand to the heart and then bring it back down. So you're just hovering above the floor, and we're just going to tap and lift. Tap, squeeze to lift. So we're almost like doing a deadlift here. Really engage your core, lower core in. 5, all in one piece, hinging at the hip, straight back. 4, 3, squeeze the booty, squeeze the hammy. 2, 1, beautiful. Let's go ahead, switch sides, left hand down, left leg bent, right leg straighten, right arm up here, shifting with the weight forward into the toes, little micro bend in the knee, making sure you're not rolling in on the arch, long neck, shoulders away from the ears. Let's breathe here. And here we're just looking for some light sensation. You don't need to be pushing or forcing. Make sure that your breath is easy here. If this is really hard for you, feel free to grab a block and place it under this hand too. You can use a block anytime throughout this practice. Beautiful. So keeping all of that good alignment, we're going to lift up onto our hands. Can use our core and our glutes and our hammies to give us a little bit of stability here. And then flexing the hand, lift those fingers off. We're going to tap and lift. For 5, don't lock into that knee, use your muscles here. 4, core in, long spine. 3, tap. 2, 1, beautiful. Now rounding to come up. How are those legs feeling? Yeah, so we're working on activating, giving some stability here when we are in a lengthened position. So it might feel a little extra spicy right now, but this is going to be so good for your flexibility. So we're going to now bring our weight onto this left foot. Right leg is bent back, not too far. My knees are still pretty much together. My weight is really centered over that left leg. We're gonna bring the hands to the heart. Now we're gonna do the same thing, kind of a deadlift. Really working on using our glutes and our hamstrings to activate here. So watch me and then join in when you are ready. I'm really plugging my scapula down. I'm not rounding and hunching through the spine. Nice and tall, core in, but core in without like sucking in, okay? You wanna think of drawing the rib cage together, okay? Long neck. We're going to come over as far as you can go without rounding or feeling like you're losing the alignment or locking into your knees. So we want to have our weight evenly distributed throughout that foot. We're going to come down, inhale, exhale, squeeze to lift. So we are working this single leg here, okay? We're going to do 10 each side. So let's inhale, go as far as you can. And then, exhale, lift back up. Inhale down, plugging into the toes to lift back up, working the back of the leg. You can even place a hand there to really feel. Bring that mind to muscle. This is hard, guys. We're really working this muscle. So if you can only come like this far and keep the good alignment, that's fine. Remember, we're really like hinging from the hips. We're not losing any alignment. Let's go 5. Use the breath. Inhale. Press into the floor. 4, 3, oh yeah, work that leg. Squeeze the booty as you lift. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 2. Don't lock into that knee. 1, beautiful. Let's step that right leg back a little bit. Just melt over for a pyramid here. And then let's flex that front foot just a couple of times. Flexing, relax, flex, relax. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and stand up and switch sides. Right leg is straight, left knee is bent, knees are together. We're in the same line at least. Really already here, feel that your weight is on that right leg. The left leg is really just here to balance. We're not bringing a lot of weight into it, okay? Really grounded, weight evenly distributed throughout that right foot. Squeezing the booty, squaring off the hips, right? We don't want to be doing any weird, funky things. We're trying to really just stay in one piece here as we hinge from the hips, okay? Let's go. We've got 10. Feel free to use a wall or a chair if this is really hard for you to balance on. That's totally fine. Remember, prioritize good form, even if it's really challenging. 6. Use the breath. Squeeze to lift. 5. 4. Try not to lock and sink back into your heel, okay? Keep the weight evenly throughout the foot. Squeeze to lift. 3. Oh yeah, feel that burn, guys. 2. 1. Beautiful. Let's come down. Let that left leg step back a little bit. Let's take a moment in our pyramid. We'll flex, relax. Squaring off the hips here, flex, relax, 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 relax. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna come to a parallel forward fold here. And again, I want you to bring your weight forward into your toes. Really arch through the back, okay? Find that arch, find that length. And then without your hands on the floor, we're just gonna kind of shift side to side, leg to leg. Keeping the weight forward, keeping the back nice and straight. Beautiful, flat back, squeeze the booty to lift up. Inhale, breath, exhale down to the heart. From here, guys, let's go ahead and we're gonna pivot so that our left foot is facing forward. We're gonna slightly bring that right foot in a little bit. So a little bit turned out, front leg is parallel. I'm gonna work through one of my favorite and most challenging moves that's really going to work all these muscles of your legs. So I want you to focus on here, really not locking and sinking into your knee. We need to be activating the quad to really pull up on the kneecap, and we also don't wanna be rolling in on our arch. So we're using our external rotators and our glutes to stabilize, and we're also not losing our form. So we want to stay really squared with our hips here. Go ahead and take a moment to find that neutral pelvis. We're not just hanging out, neutral pelvis, square hips. We're going to start like how we would in a pyramid. So find your pyramid, right? We're going to come up. We're going to try to do this no hands, so whatever works for you. Hands on hips, hands at heart, hands behind the head. Watch me and then join in when we're ready. So we're going to drop down, lunge, tap that knee to the floor, or at least go as low as you can, working in our range here without opening up the hips, keeping everything nice and squared, really keeping your hips under you, not letting them arch, squeezing the booty, and then we're going to press forward, coming into a pyramid without any hands. So here you're really going to have to work on keeping those hips squared, squeezing the glutes, pressing down through these toes. So really like almost try and point your toe, like really pressing into the floor so that your weight's not all in your heel so you don't lock into your knee, okay? We're gonna lift back up and drop down, okay? This is very challenging. You should feel challenged if you're working on trying to keep the hips squared. All this good alignment, not walking to the knee. Feel free to use the wall or have a chair if you need help with balance. Only go so far as you can keep the good form, okay? Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna drop down, hit that knee. As we straighten up, hinging forward, drawing that front hip back, really squaring off. Coming down to where you get that stretch. Lifting up. Tap the knee, neutral pelvis. Squaring off, drawing that front hip back as you lean forward. Nice flat back, press into the toes. Lift up, core strong. Drop it down. Beautiful, let's go. You've got 8. So this is 3. You should really feel your hamstring and glutes working here as you're straightening to square off the hips. Don't walk into the knee. Woo! Oh yeah, that was 4. This is 5. Use the breath. Exhale. 6. 7. And 8. See if you can hold it here for a moment. And hands down, some sweet mercy. Bring that back leg in for a moment. We're just gonna stretch here in pyramid with some really good form. So if you find that your hips are open, just go ahead, square them off. Arch through the low back, lengthen through the spine. Take a moment to breathe into the back of the leg. It might be feeling quite intense. Beautiful, we're gonna go ahead and drop that back knee down. Coming into a lunge here, 90 degrees with the front foot, squaring off the hips, tucking the pelvis, squeeze that booty cheek here. Left hand down, right arm reaches up. We're really tucking, squaring off the hips. Drop your chin to your chest. Lean forward just about an inch till you get some stretch, keeping that tuck, keeping the squeeze of the glute. And then feel free to reach over, creating a little diagonal stretch, a little side stretch through the front and side of that right hip. Making it active here, really squeezing that right booty cheek to keep the tuck. And then breathe here to find that place where you're like, oh, there it is, good stretch, but we are not in pain. We can breathe. We're not just here waiting for it to be over. Take a moment to ground in. Spread those toes of the front foot on the floor. Beautiful. Hands down. We're going to pivot this back leg, bringing it parallel to the other back of our mat here. If you want to put a towel or a blanket or anything under this knee if it's feeling sensitive, please do so. No hands again, bringing them behind the head, staying nice and lifted through the core. We're gonna actually drop down. Woo, as far as we can. Squeeze to lift up. So maybe this is feeling really hippie for you, lots of hip mobility. Feel free to just make it a little less hippie if you wanna face that leg a little bit more. Find what feels good for you here. We're gonna drop into our range. Inhale. Keep that knee tracking forward, not letting it fall in. Really squeezing the glutes and hamstrings to press you back up. Working our strength in our range. Let's go. We got 10. 9, keep your pelvis under you. If you find that you're leaning forward, come back upright. 8. 7, mind to the muscle. Feel this underneath of the leg working. 6. 5, really working those hamstrings, inner thighs. 4. 3. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 2. 1. Beautiful. Let's bring our right hand down, straighten out that left leg. Take a gate opener, side stretch here, pressing into the floor. Beautiful, coming back, bending that knee. This time we're just gonna stretch over to the side. So we're getting a nice inner thigh stretch here. I'm really using this hand to kind of push that knee out. And then grounding down through this leg here. Just breathe into that side body. So take a moment here to stretch, getting right into that inner thigh here. I'm gonna stay a little more upright. Sometimes I notice when I'm really going for the bends, I lose connection to my breath. Want to keep that connection to the breath. Most important. Beautiful. All right, we're gonna unwind out of this, unpivot that back leg, tuck that toe. We're actually gonna come here into a little side angle. One last stretch, one last push here. You can come up and just balance here. If you would like an extra challenge, really get that pelvis under you. Don't let it hang back. Really squeeze, get that support from underneath. Core in, lift that bottom arm. Woo, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pressing up. Without locking into that knee, reach back. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down, coming into a triangle pose here. Now in triangle, we don't want to be locking through this knee, so again, pressing into the toes, pulling up on the kneecap. And we're not leaning forward with our hips back. We want to get kind of our hips right in line. Long spine, pressing to the floor, staying lifted out of the shoulder. We want this to be active here. We're not just hanging out and collapsing. There's life, there's energy radiating out through the core. Take a moment to imagine there's this fire in your belly, this flame of radiance, passion, strength. Going out through all of your limbs. Beautiful, coming to the center, parallel. Beautiful, and then we're gonna do the same thing other side. Let's come on over. Hitting that pyramid pose here, so finding your pyramid, squaring off the hips, right leg, let's go. So we're gonna do the same thing without hands, dropping down into a lunge, finding that neutral squared off pelvis. If you're doing anything funky here, wanna just square off here. And then we're gonna press into the toes, pulling up on the kneecaps, squeezing the glutes and the hamstrings to square that hip off. Hinge from the hips, flat back. Core in to lift up as you squeeze the booty. Drop. Moving nice and slow. Let's go 10. Exhale. Square off, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I know it might feel like, oh, I'm not getting a stretch here even. I'm just feeling like this is a workout, and that's okay. It's through doing that this is actually going to help create an environment in your body, in your muscles, that your brain allows you to access more flexibility. So it's okay if right now it just feels like you're riding the struggle bus and feel like a weak noodle and all you can feel is your muscles working. Doing this consistently will make a huge difference. Let's go 4. Square off 3. Oh yeah. 2. 1. Oh, hands down. Take a moment to breathe here, finding that good alignment, drawing that right hip back, left hip forward. Don't lock into the knee. And then drop that back knee down, coming into a lunge. Come on up, tuck the pelvis, square off the hips, squeeze this booty, left arm up, tuck, drop the chin, lean forward just an inch, and go ahead and reach over to that right diagonal. Oh. Breathing here, breathing into the belly. Even though we might be getting a little sweaty, getting a little fiery, we still want to return to that sense of inner connection to ourselves. Saying some gratitude to your body and just checking in. How is this feeling for you? Is this challenging? Does it feel good? Is it waking up muscles and kind of balance and lots of stabilizers maybe you haven't worked in a little bit? Beautiful, hands down. We're gonna pivot that back leg in so it's parallel. Come on up here. So it's almost like we're doing a half like malasana squat here. So that's what you want to think of with this leg. We're gonna drop down. Really get into that range. Keep your pelvis underneath you. Don't lean forward. And then press, like squeeze these muscles. These are the ones propelling you back up. Showing our brain, showing our body we can go into our range and have the control of our muscles to come out of it safely. Use the breath here too to also show the body, show the nervous system. Everything is all groovy. We are expanding our window of tolerance, expanding our capacity for our body to feel a sense of safety and ease and presence, even in challenging situations, such as this workout class. Let's go 3, 2, 1. Beautiful, pressing back and open, gate opener here. And let's bend back in. I'm kind of bringing this left foot in a little bit so we're nice and turned out. Pressing that arm into the leg and stretching, creating space for your breath too here as well. So this is more of a lengthening rather than like a crunching over. Lengthening, create that space in the torso and breathe into it. Beautiful, let's pivot back here. Let that foot come back, and then we're going to move into our side angle here. Again, making sure your hips, if they've gone really far back, bring them right under you, get that support from underneath. You can bring that elbow to your leg if you want to stay here, or really squeeze the booty, squeeze the core. Let's lift that bottom arm off for 5. Sink low, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press up strong, reach back without locking into that front leg. And exhale, cartwheel the hands to our triangle here. Pressing into the toes, pulling up on the kneecap, externally rotating that leg so we're not rolling in on the arch. Nice and supported, lifted, strong core. So you can come up onto your fingertips, or maybe even play around with, can you lift a hand off? What happens there with your alignment? What muscles get activated? Ooh, that's a good one. Beautiful, let's bring our hands to the center and forward fold. Bring our weight into the toes, micro bend in the knee, arching through the back, long spine. Beautiful. All right, my loves, we're gonna walk back so the left leg is front once again, and then step back into our 3-legged dog. Give me a nice big stretch here. Plugging into the fingertips, don't just dump into the wrists, don't lock into that right knee. We're gonna exhale, bring this leg forward into a pigeon actually. See if you can really use your core to draw that leg up as far as you can before setting it down. Taking a moment to kind of ease into pigeon, maybe rocking a little side to side. I'm gonna do one of my favorite mobility stretches here. So we're going to either, if this is your first time doing it, just have one hand on the floor, one hand off. Maybe you want to have both hands off. Maybe you want to take a 5th position. This is going to be the most challenging. I'm just going to bring my hands down. We're going to lengthen. So we're gonna lengthen, coming to hover above the ground as we lower, inhale. Exhale, squeeze the booty and the core as you lift up. Let's go, we've got 5, inhale. If this is feeling weird on your knee, try really flexing and winging that front foot. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna melt down for a moment. Finding some peace, finding some calm in the body. Deep breaths into the belly. Beautiful, lifting back up. And we're going to shift onto our booty here. Actually bring that back leg in to cross it here, and then we're going to take this left leg in our hands. You kind of got it in a little bit of a sort of bent pigeon here, but I'm basically got my hand wrapped around this foot, and we're going to try and really sit up nice and tall and just move through a few bends and straightens, bend, straighten, just kind of working through here. So point and straighten, flex and bend, point and straighten, really tall spine here, as tall as you can. Use that core. Just moving through. I found when it comes to hamstring flexibility, it's really good to bring movement, and movement that kind of targets and gets all these muscles kind of getting all these different angles in the stretch. Exhale, straighten, and now we're going to twist here. So reaching that left arm back, shoulders down, plug the scapula into your back. Nice strong core, getting a stretch across. You can play around with flexing or pointing that left foot. Sitting up nice and tall. We're going to circle that left arm, reaching forward, up, and back. Really pulling this leg across the body, reaching forward, up, and back. Try to avoid, if you are hypermobile, please don't just be locking into your knee and leg. Have a little bit of lift and activation, micro bend. Last time, reach up and over. Beautiful. All right, placing that leg down, we're going to come forward into our half splits here, and we're just going to rock forward and back, circling that ankle, and then go ahead and get the hips and the head involved here. We're going to get a little bit gooey through this leg. Just noticing how when you change the posture and the tilt of your hips, what your spine is doing, what your foot is doing, how that changes the sensations. Get a little organic here. Play around with arching and tucking the pelvis, turning the leg in, out. Beautiful. Yeah, I love doing like hip circles here. Beautiful. All right, really framing that leg here. I'm going to go ahead and point my foot here so that feels good. And then I'm going to lift up, arch the back. I have a pretty good bend in my knee, guys, because I find sometimes when you bend the knee and you really make sure the stretch isn't happening in the knee joint, it can go more into the hamstrings, especially if you're really focusing on like arching the back, lengthening through the spine. I'm really more worried about what's happening in my pelvis than like, oh, how straight is my leg right here. Beautiful. And then we're going to sink our hips back to our heels and move into one of these bad boys. So if you want to place like a pillow or you need some blocks like under your hips, and this is feeling very stretchy for you, that's totally fine. We're just gonna bend, or take a moment to breathe here. We are bending. And what I want you to do is we're gonna bring back that squeeze and release. I want you to squeeze and activate the glutes and the hamstrings, the quads, and then relax. Squeeze and activate, and relax. Squeeze and activate, and relax. Just take a moment to breathe. Really see if you can find some like length to go up and over that leg. So we're not just sitting here rounding through the spine. So even if you're here, just have a nice long spine. Breathing nice and deep. Beautiful. Coming up slowly. We're gonna pivot to the side. So with this left leg out to the side, we're gonna rotate. So really rotate from the hips. Make sure your toes are reaching up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do a few pulses back. So we're gonna sink the hips back to heels like we would in child's pose. And come up, back, come up, back, come up. And then go ahead and sink back for a moment. So it's like we're in child's pose sort of, but this leg's out to the side, getting a little inner thigh here. And just breathing, relaxing. Returning to your center. Beautiful. Coming on up. We're gonna pivot, coming up and pivoting towards the right leg here. Do this all on the right side. So let's go ahead and just heard a weird noise, but we're good. All right, let's lift that right leg up and back, three-legged dog. Nice stretch into that left leg without locking into the knee. Exhale, coming forward. Use your core to draw that knee as far forward as you can before lowering down into our pigeon here. So you might notice when doing this pigeon mobility exercise, you might have to bring your pigeon back a little bit. This will really show you like where your true mobility lies. If you can't do this when you're like, wow, like really far up here, just take stock of that. Notice, like, do I need to bring my leg back to make it a little less intense? Again, body over ego. What are your limits here? So lifting off, and we're going to drop down. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale. Hover, core and booty work together, lift you back up. Lift. 2, 1. Beautiful, go ahead and come down and breathe here. Stretching into the glute and the hamstrings here. Breathing into the belly. Especially in stretching, sometimes what I like to do to help release extra tension is to like do an audible sigh, like really let any tension just kind of leave your body. Do a nice big sigh. Beautiful. We're gonna come up, bend that back leg in. Go ahead and grab this leg, and then we're gonna move through a bend and straighten. Kind of turning out as you bend. Getting a little more parallel as you straighten. Nice tall spine. Really make sure you're on your sits bones here. You're not, I caught myself back here, kind of rounding back. Really come forward. Beautiful. Straighten, and then we're gonna reach that right arm up and twist here. Staying nice and lifted through the spine. And circle that arm. Really drawing that leg across the body. Feel that twist. Beautiful. Let's place this leg down. We're going to come forward into our half splits here. So I'm going to start by circling and moving the ankle. And then let that movement carry up through the pelvis, the head, the spine. Play around with bending, straightening that leg. Play around with the pelvis and the foot. You really get all the little angles of that leg. Beautiful. You can even play around here with like, how does it feel to rotate in or rotate out, having that really come from the hip. Beautiful, and then finding what feels good here for you to breathe. So I'm going to kind of point my toe, have a micro bend in the knee, and really think about lengthening through the spine and also squaring off the hips. I'm just breathing there. Send your breath into the places that feel tight, the places that feel really resistant. And again, we're still listening to the body. We don't want to be in pain here. Pain is not a good indicator of if you're doing a stretch good enough. Let your hips sink back to your heel here, come all the way down. And find what feels good here for you. Maybe you want to sit up, and really just work on lengthening here. Maybe it would feel good for you to melt forward a little bit. Nice deep breaths, breathing into the back. Beautiful, inhaling, coming up. We're gonna pivot to the side here. So my left leg's a little turned out, my right leg is definitely turned out, rotating from the hip, toes up. And we're just gonna sink back and up, back and up. Ooh, little snap, crackle, pop. Back, and then we're gonna hold here for a moment, just breathing. And if this is feeling really stretchy for you, really intense on your thighs, you can always just come and bring this leg through here. Or just stay lifted. If this is like good for you, go for it. Listen to your body. Beautiful. Inhaling, coming up. And then we're gonna bring that leg in, just coming to a nice neutral tabletop. And then take a cat-cow to balance out. Inhale. Exhale, round. Inhale, shine the heart forward. Exhale, pull the belly button into the spine, press into the floor. And then back to child's pose. Breathing into the back body, kind of balancing out all those flat, archy backs we were working with. Then inhale, rippling forward, coming to a cobra. Oh yeah, stretching out the front of the body. A lot of bent legs. We're just hinging at the hips, a lot of folding at the hips. So we're gonna stretch out here. Beautiful, and pressing back. Let's tuck those toes and walk our feet back here to stretch out through the soles of the feet. Press into the fingertips, lift the hips back and up. One last downward dog. Really arching through the spine. Walking out through the legs one last time, just noticing how your legs feel. Mine definitely feel way more like they're ready to bend and open and stretch. Let's come back down and come onto our backs here. And we're actually going to I meant onto our butts here. We're gonna bring that foam roller again and just roll out the legs one last time. So get into that right side. Oh, feels so good. Your legs will definitely feel like pretty worked. I've noticed sometimes after doing a class like this, they can almost feel like, whoa, like really tired. But then if you give it a little bit, like this is a great thing to do as like a warm-up even before class. Like I did this the other day before I did a pole rehearsal here at my home pole, and I was like, wow, like my legs are ready to go, like splits, let's get it. So it's a really good practice to get in the habit of doing. Let's do that left side. Oh yeah. But they might feel a little sore too, like all those deadlifts and stuff. And then if at any point you want to challenge yourself, like you can do those deadlifts in the gym. You can do it with weights to really challenge. I mean, that is a hamstring strengthening exercise. So we just did it today with just body weight. But you can definitely bump that up with weights to make them even stronger. All right, beautiful. Moving that roller aside. So take one final stretch over, flexing the toes, lengthening through the spine, and then we're going to just walk out through the legs here. Walking, shifting your hips back and forth. Beautiful. And let's roll back down onto our back. Hug the knees into the chest, give a little rock side to side. Straighten your legs up, and we're just gonna like do a little twerk here, just rotating in and out, letting it all jiggle. Jiggle, 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 let it release. So good for the fascia of the back legs and body. Let those calves relax. Oh, I could do this for hours. It feels so good. Beautiful, taking a little happy baby here. Stretching out those inner thighs. So guys, let me know in the comments if this helped you, if you felt like a sense of like, oh, like I definitely feel like, oh yeah, very stretchy, much more open. So you can try a couple of these, see how they feel. Beautiful. Now we're just going to take a very short little Shavasana, finding your way into stillness. Letting the shoulders really drop down to the floor. Find this gentle opening across the collarbones. You can snuggle your shoulder blades underneath the ribs. Let your legs release and kind of drop open. Breathing into the belly, letting all the muscles in your body soften and relax. Take a moment to imagine your legs, like feel into and visualize your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes, your quads, your calves, your ankles, your toes. Just completely saturated and enveloped in this bright white light. Healing, recalibration, rejuvenation. Welcoming in a quick rejuvenation and a recalibration into your nervous system, your muscles, your fascia, and your brain, just welcoming in a new level of strength and stability and trust and body awareness. Breathing down into the legs, really send your breath as you inhale down into the lower body. Beautiful, and begin to wiggle your toes. Start to roll your ankles. Start to bend your knees. Some movement up through the legs, rocking the knees side to side. Waking yourself back up. Rolling to one side. Oh yeah. Let's get it. And coming up to a seated position, feeling your sits bones rooting down into the floor, spine growing up tall. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Great work today, my friend. Thank you for joining me. Mobility work and active stretching paired with healthy alignment, body awareness, and breath is the key to changing how you move, and therefore how you dance. If this is really interesting to you, if this was helpful, if you really want to learn more about how the science of flexibility, the science of your fascia, your nervous system, your anatomy and alignment all contributes to how you are able to show up in the dance studio, how easeful and big your movement can be, and how pain-free and strong and stable you can feel. This is everything that I teach in my program, Yoga for Dance Academy. This is an in-depth mentorship to completely transform the way you live, the way you move, and the way you go about your career as a dancer so that it can be more successful, more fulfilling, more sustainable for the long term, especially for your body, especially for your mental health, your emotional health. If you want to learn about how to bring a yogic lifestyle into your life as a dancer and really integrate wellness into your daily routine, have some support, some accountability, one-on-one coaching from me, go ahead and check out the link below so you can learn more and get on the wait list if you're interested. Thanks for joining me for class today, y'all. I will see you next week. Mwah! Have a great weekend.